Welcome to the Multichain Nation. Today we have Jesse, co-founder of iBTC. Welcome, Jesse.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you on, and let's get into it. So tell me, what is iBTC?
iBTC has shifted a little bit over the years since our founding, but our core mission remains the same. It's to get Bitcoin to be a useful, productive, yield-bearing asset in the safest way possible. Over the years, we've become a little bit more institutional focused. So trying to create a product which can be useful for major institutions, which is passing enough regulatory requirements to meet that goal. But actually, although that's kind of where our sales pitch and our we've found customers that are most interested in our product in that area. Our product, the technical design hasn't had to change much. We've just found that by providing a very safe product, uh, that those become the types of customers that are most interested in our product. So because it's very safe, the safest wrapped Bitcoin on the EVM chains and soon to be a number of other chains as well. Um, that we're more capable of passing regulatory requirements and therefore are more interesting for institutional customers. So yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but the safest wrapped Bitcoin out there.
And it's the funny thing about that is like I love how Bitcoin always holds itself as like highest standard of crypto and blockchain, but it's most useful being wrapped into different blockchains. And
Right.
it's like the commodity of Bitcoin can only go so far on its own without using other blockchains to help produce yield bearing, make it a yield bearing asset, or kind of really play with the financial instrument that we have in markets today using Bitcoin, and wrapping is the only way. So thank you for bringing what has so much like market cap in our crypto industry into a more dynamic financial instrument.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's our goal. I will add that we still do see, and I'm actually, this has also been a bit of a shift for us. We still do see a lot of Bitcoin being used and just directly on the Bitcoin blockchain, but actually rather exchanged and traded on centralized exchanges. So the custody is generally given up there, and it's we're trading futures, we're doing options, we're leveraging the bets. So this is actually where the majority of Bitcoin action is happening. This is where the majority of Bitcoin yield is happening. It's still not a wrapped version of the asset, but if you want to do it in real DeFi. So I don't even know if you would quite call centralized exchange trading of Bitcoin DeFi, right?
No,
I probably wouldn't. It's a decentralized asset, but it's not really decentralized finance exactly. Not in the way we mean that term these days. So that's right. Wrapping the asset is the way that we're going to get to a true DeFi use case for Bitcoin.
it's exciting. And for IBTC, how are they using Axelar?
So Axelar recently has been a very interesting addition to our repertoire because we focus on this regulated, institutional friendly form of wrapped Bitcoin. That is and it's an extremely safe version. I can talk a bit about the mechanisms that make it a safer version of wrapped Bitcoin, but that's why we were chosen to be the first version of wrapped Bitcoin on the XRPL chain. So that's Ripple. Um, and we have some other chains we're moving on to as well, primarily that are a little bit more, kind of regulation and traditional finance or institutional focused use cases for Bitcoin. Um, where Axelar came into play is that the XRPL chain for Ripple, well, that's one of the OG chains as well, much like Bitcoin, and it's a great chain and offers a lot of functionality. But by today's smart contract standards, it doesn't quite have that same sort of dynamism, and therefore the developer ecosystem isn't quite the same as what we've seen on EVM and now Solana and some of the newer chains. So XRPL has a kind of a sister chain now, a side chain sort of called, which is their EVM based chain. So they call it the XRPL EVM side chain. Um, it was much easier for us as a bridge and wrapper of Bitcoin to leverage a system and a technology and a team that has a lot of experience bridging between smart contract chains. And that's where that's where Axelar comes in. So Axelar has, as I understand, the only bridging system between XRPL main chain and the XRPL EVM side chain. And so, yeah, we're using that technology to move our wrapped Bitcoin product from XRPL to XRPL sidechain, where the Ripple team is hoping to have a lot of exciting development, because as that's EVM compatible, it's that much easier for people to port over the cool protocols that we know from the other EVM chains.
It's so great to have that capability and allowing companies and protocols and projects like yourself to build something and really focus on what the ethos is supposed to be, which is a safe wrapped Bitcoin, and being able to leverage other chains, other protocols to bring your product everywhere. It's something that I really think the industry needed, since there's so many chains of different cryptocurrencies all kind of like fighting for something but not communicating well. And Axar is like, all right, let's just make this all seamless between each other and cohesive. That way we can stop fighting about whose chain's better and just focus on making a really good product and then bring it together and let the people use it on wherever they are.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a programmer, I've got now experience for the past 10, or I've been programming for 20 years to date myself that way, but professionally. But within the last 10 or 15 years, we saw explosion of open source software where, you want to build a website. There's a ton of tools, and then there's tools on the tools, and there's modules, and you can just plug and play. I want this, MP3, widget, and I want this podcasting app, and I want this, graphic system and this framework, and you're just putting all this stuff together, and it's so incredible. And we certainly have never had such a concept around money. Money is very old fashioned. You go to the bank, may I have my money, please? How much do I have to pay you in fees for the right to have my money? Um, so it's, like Amazon did their best, but even Amazon did not innovate in money exactly, right? The best you got is credit card payments, but like even Amazon couldn't figure out any progress there. And that's where DeFi has really exploded. And I didn't see it coming in the beginning of DeFi, certainly not with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kind of like programmable money, but not really. It's more like blockchain based money. EVM was programmable money, but I don't think anyone saw at the beginning that it was going to be so modular and these building blocks were going to be able to be put together so rapidly and so fluidly, like they are now. So, as a programmer, it's just like everything we've been building towards in the open source software is exploding in DeFi. And then Axelar is a great example, right? So Axelar's got its APIs and it's got its SDKs, and you can implement. For us in particular, it was even easier than that, because we're actually just onboarding now to the bridge between XRPL mainnet and XRPL EVM sidechain. So I don't think we're launched live there just yet, but the onboarding process couldn't be easier. I think our token just needs to be whitelisted essentially, and then it's live. And now our token, because we just conform to various token standards, I suppose we just have to launch our token contract on EVM, and then they map together and it's done, right? So flip of a switch and we're cross chain. Really cool.
That's amazing. That's the beauty of open source. So you don't have to necessarily ask for permission to code and use different blockchain protocols. The whole thing is laid out there in front of you. The benefit of using things like Axar is that there's a team behind it that's helping you onboard with their protocol. They're not just dumping a bunch of open source code and expecting you to read and understand it. They're like, this is how you do it. These are the steps. This is the specs. Follow this, and as soon as you are able to follow their standards, they can just get you onboarded and get you started. With
That's
a
right.
traditional finance system, good luck. You have
Yeah.
years of just negotiation and contracts and legal work and documentation and paying fees on fees. And if that doesn't work out, you've lost all your money. It's just really, really,
Yeah.
really hard. And it doesn't, we're a global economy. We're globally moving. There's no more time for intermediaries. We're the digital age where things move fast and people need to be transacting quickly. So just
Well,
it's
I'm glad like people like you have that expectation. I mean, you even say it, there's no time for this. I love that attitude, right? Like, but I think we believe there's no time for this because we see what's possible. But 10 years ago, we could say, I wish I didn't have to wait for this traditional institution to do this or that, but c'est la vie, right? But now it's not c'est la vie. Now, like, people are really out there building. So, yeah, I could launch my own bridge. I could take the open source software that's out there, including what Axelar provides and these other tech, and launch it. But yeah, as you said, I would rather work with a kind of this hybrid, like an established firm with a trusted team that has great software, that has support and everything, but that I can also read the source code. Perfect. Like, I'm not going to build my own
you don't
Bitcoin and
have to.
trust people to use it. Hey, I want to use what other people wrote, and it's been released and it's trusted and I get support and stuff. So yeah, this is also what iBTC tries to do in a sense as well. Like, I absolutely have the utmost respect for people that are really pushing the boundaries of like a decentralized organizations and open source software and decentralized finance and free money and all that. I love it, and I think we need those people pushing hard on that side. We're filling a role that's a little bit in between. We're trying to drag traditional finance kind of kicking and screaming into the modern age. And I think that also there's an important role for that too. And in order to do that, we're going to compromise a little bit on some of the very I don't want to say like extreme or radical ideas of free money and stuff, but just finding a balance that also provides value there. So yeah, we're the same. We're like Bitcoin, but we're a service that provides nice Bitcoin services, right? There's something there.
It's funny how you say it's extreme, but in my mind, like it's not extreme at all. I mean, my money is my money, your money is your money. You should do what you want with it. And it's funny how we trust these institutions or third party services that we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know their code base. We don't know where what hands our money is touching. Like, yeah, I deposit my money into a bank for free, but also what are they doing with my money? And I know I'm FDIC insured for up to what $250,000, but like that's in the full faith of the government, and the government right now is not looking faithful.
It's
So
been a while since I had full faith in the government, right? That's
so
right.
it's like I rather just have it in my own possession or in my own custody, knowing that it's valued between the people of the world, and that's who we are. Humans as social creatures, we just love valuing each other. Um, but
Yeah.
as your projects go, it sounds like your implementation experience was smooth, clean, and easy. And I know you're still developing on it, but it's great to hear that XR is really helping out. So what's next for iBTC?
Yeah, great question. Well, we're moving on to a few other chains. There's a chain called Canton Network, and that one's not quite so well known. It's been traditionally a bit more permissioned and is also moving in a bit more of a institutional focused, or has been moving in more of an institutional focused um, regulated environment. Although I think they have plans now to make it a little bit more open access. But we're also going to be the first wrapped Bitcoin there. So yeah, continuing to find new opportunities to new places where a Bitcoin product like ours can flourish. Where our TVL is still a bit low on iBTC. Interestingly, I would say on EVM, and this has sort of been our pivot from a sales and business focus over the past year. Uh, as exciting as EVM is, the free money revolution has like some I won't say downsides, but you got to be a bit careful out there. It's a little dark forest because we've got some Bitcoin products out there that we're trying to compete with on the EVM and EVM L2 chains or Bitcoin L2 chains or whatever, and these Bitcoin products are not that safe, but they offer you more interest and they're more hype focused, and there's lots of points programs. And this is the space we find ourselves trying to compete on the EVM chains primarily. So that's, I don't think we were very, I think part of the reason we were not very successful there is, one, we don't have that skill set. We're not a hype marketing team, pumping points, and it's just not our culture. It's not what we want to do. We want to make a better product, and we really want to make it active for like more traditional institutions that move a little slower, they're a little safer, and they want to do something right. So that's why we ended up on XRPL. That's why we ended up on Canton. That culture fit was really great. That's why we're the only wrap Bitcoin there. And now, so we'll continue to look for new opportunities to roll our Bitcoin to, but we're also focused now on sort of the next value add on top of just providing the wrapped Bitcoin. So like a Bitcoin representation here. I can briefly mention why our wrapped Bitcoin is safer than the others.
Please, yeah.
But the next value adds on some of these chains that don't already have such products would include things like Bitcoin-backed stablecoin. Love those products. There's some incredible products out in the market that we would love to create something based on, take some of the best pieces of what we found out there, make our own Bitcoin-backed stablecoin on a chain that doesn't already have that, and do it in a way that's compliant and can pass some like regulatory requirements. So I think new chains and value add products on Bitcoin.
Yeah. And as you're saying, iBTC is making a safe wrapped Bitcoin. So what constitutes a safely wrapped Bitcoin?
Yeah, so our product is designed as follows. It's bridge, but we often refer to it as a bridgeless bridge as a way to kind of differentiate. Traditionally in a bridge, like wrapping a Bitcoin is done traditionally one of two ways. Either you actually give your Bitcoin to a multi-sig or a set of humans, essentially one or multiple humans who control signatures and who control your Bitcoin. They see that your Bitcoin's there, and if everything is above board and going as it theoretically should, they go ahead and mint you a wrapped version of it over here, and you use it for whatever you want. And when you request it back, they sign it. It could be, human. It's probably automated, of course, but generally speaking, there's like a set of keys that are managed through kind of administrative means. So that's more of a custodial, like a manual bridge. A decentralized bridge has a series of nodes that are run by, the community, whoever wants to spin up a node, and they form a consensus among themselves. This is traditional Bitcoin or a traditional crypto kind of thing. And you send your Bitcoin to that group, a decentralized group. They don't know each other, and they have to come to a consensus in order to wrap your token and redeem back your Bitcoin. So ours is different from either of those. It's kind of putting the best of both together in a way. So we do have a decentralized set of nodes. We have 10 nodes operating from some of the best high profile, like well-known, well-respected organizations out there. So we because of our Bitcoin tech, it's not open for anyone to run a node, but it is an authorized set of 10 of the most trusted names in the game. And when you are wrapping your Bitcoin into the bridge, you are actually sending your Bitcoin to a transaction. You're wrapping it in such a way that this decentralized set of nodes has one key to sign it, and you retain the second key, and the Bitcoin is locked in a vault, which is a 2 of 2. So that means that without your authorization, nobody can move that Bitcoin, and essentially you would never authorize your own Bitcoin to move anywhere but back to yourself. So you've essentially prevented, at the Bitcoin layer, anyone from ever stealing away your Bitcoin. Like, it can't be sent to a hacker's address or anything. The worst thing that could happen if the entire network were terribly compromised is that the Bitcoin would never move, which really disincentivizes the hacker might have for trying to attack the network.
Yeah, at some point.
They can't steal anything, right? So there's a couple complications that come with this, which has essentially we cannot, what a lot of systems do is when they take your Bitcoin, they give you a token over here, but meanwhile, similar to like a traditional bank, they're kind of investing or lending or earning a little side money on your Bitcoin, which is risky. And that's not the deal. That's not what you signed up for. That's not really what smart contracts are all about. So that's why we're generally not able on the EVM chains with what we call like less safe bridges. We can't quite compete with them on the yield you get, but we are better with safety. So that's why we're having success on these more TradFi kind of institutional chains, TradFi friendly blockchains versus the EVM chains. But yeah, I think was that
Yeah, that
a good
answered. Yeah,
explanation? Do you
yeah,
understand?
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
okay.
I think it's always important for the holder to have their own signature involved in either transacting in any transaction in crypto. It's always important that nothing can happen without your permission, because
Yeah.
it is scary when I give or hold crypto like Coinbase or Kraken or Gemini, whatever, Binance, any of the exchanges. It's technically, if something happens to them, that can all be gone.
Yeah.
It's not secured in a encrypted like private key, public key, transactional crypto tradition, like the way that crypto is supposed to. The whole ethos of crypto is, not your keys, not your crypto.
Yeah.
You need to have your key to control your crypto, no matter what you're using. So thank you for keeping that ethos alive. And it's good that, yeah, you can, even though it's shared between a selected group of people, they can't do anything without your
Yeah.
permission, which is essentially all you really want.
That's how we get everyone to trust in the token, right? Like anyone who uses iBTC without having wrapped their own Bitcoin, they can be comfortable that iBTC is a trustworthy asset because they trust the network.
Mm-hmm.
You as the Bitcoin holder, you can trust that your Bitcoin is safe because you keep a key on there. So yeah, I think we're doing our best to find the best of both worlds. And like you're identifying, right? If you're giving up control of your keys, well, in crypto you don't need to do that. Like that's the beauty of this blockchain crypto industry. Like don't give up your keys. And if you do, make sure the person is paying you very well for the right to potentially lose your money,
Yep.
right? And so like very fine, if you want to if you want to gamble your money and get very high returns on it, that's cool.
Your
That's a
money.
choice. Like let's do it. But right, our product is focused on groups that feel like they want to retain the control. Perhaps there's regulatory importance for retaining the control. For example, some ideas that have been floated are that if you never give up, if you retain a key on the asset, perhaps it's not a taxable event when you swap in and swap out, right? So
Mm.
this is a very important concept that institutions might, if you're moving $100 million in Bitcoin, you want to invest it and double your money, and then you get back, or you earn interest in whatever token, your original principal comes back to you. Maybe that wasn't even a taxable event, that whole thing, because you retained a key, right? So there's some important opportunities that we hopefully are going to stumble upon as we go through this.
That's a complicated place to be, but definitely exciting once we hopefully figure it out. For
Yes.
IPTC, how can community members who are listening get involved?
Great question. Well, yeah, you can find our token on the EVM chains. So mainnet, Base, ARB, Binance, I believe, quite a few EVM chains, XRPL. So if you want to earn on a very safe token, you like the idea of having a safer underlying asset that's as close to Bitcoin as you're going to get on these other chains. Find us on Curve and some other dexes and such. Um, and yeah, pretty soon, if you work in a financial institution that's considering doing something with large amounts of Bitcoin, I think in particular we're very interested in hearing from you because we've got a team that knows a lot about the regulatory requirements, that knows about tax implications, and that can help you find the best way to earn yield on your Bitcoin. I will mention, yeah, for the community, so you can currently find us at ibtc.network, find all about us. We're going through pretty soon a cool rebrand. So for now, you'll find us here, but pretty soon you'll find us at bitsafe.finance. This is going to be a little bit more of kind of an overarching product. So iBTC, or overarching brand. So iBTC will be a wrapped Bitcoin. That'll be one of our products, but we'll have some kind of yield vaults and stuff like that. It'll be under the BitSafe brand. And I'll just mention briefly what our one of those vaults might look like. So in the very beginning of our talk, I mentioned how a lot of Bitcoin is still being traded on just actually kind of custodially on centralized exchanges and such directly with the Bitcoin asset. So we're even playing with designs now that would help people holding a wrapped token, and probably most listeners haven't heard of such a product, but you would take your wrapped Bitcoin asset, put it into a vault on EVM, whatever, on ETH or some. Behind the scenes, that asset gets unwrapped to Bitcoin on your behalf, but you don't have to do anything. So it actually moves automatically from the wrapped chain to the native chain back to Bitcoin, and then it's traded and managed actively through an active trader over here. And then after, the 3-month lockup, 6-month lockup, or however the details might be, the proceeds move back on chain. And so they rewrap back and earn your interest that way. So it's actually a way that people who don't know how to, who can't move as fast as active traders, day traders, options and high leverage traders, but they're having a little bit of appetite for risk, they can actually just take their wrapped asset. They're familiar with, ETH wallets and such. Just invest your wrapped asset in an active trading place. So that's one of the ideas of a product as well that will be coming out on BitSafe soon.
That's exciting. Yeah, definitely day trading is not my cup of tea. I don't have that bandwidth or that time. It's just whatever little money I have to scrape along and invest into crypto. That's all I can do. I'm like, that's enough.
Yeah. It's not for it's not for everyone. It's hardly for anyone, but more power to you if you can do it.
Thank you so much, Jesse, for building something in our institutional network that we need, that even just average people can invest into also. And I'm excited for iBTC and its whole upcoming venture.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, it was great being here and talking to the audience.